Right, so it started streaming, and let's just make sure, yep, that's all right. So that's now live, and I'm going to share this with, who am I going to share it with? I'll just share it with the guys in the Discord. Whoops, I need a link. And of course, I mean, if you're seeing this notification, you're watching, welcome. Mostly I'm testing out my microphone. I've done some, what's it called? I've done an upgrade to my computer. More about that in another video. And since that time, the microphone's got really hot in... now, I'm not saying the two events are related, because this has happened before. And there wasn't an upgrade, it was a Windows update which did it. But the only thing that fixed it was reinstalling Windows, and I'm not particularly sure I want to reinstall Windows just so that Discord works nicely again. But let's see, getting 120 FPS, well already that's a bit better than before. And let's see, I'm in Pescara. And I'm not going to do any jobs now. All I'm going to do is go, well, there's Rome. And apparently there's like 3 ways into Rome. So what I want to do is I want to get into like this road here. And then go, what, here? Nope. So literally I just want to get to this road. What if I do that? There we go. So... no job today, I'm just going to go for a little drive and see what happens. Now, according to OBS, my voice is in the yellow, so that's good. Just engage in automatic. And... right, there we go, so we're rolling. And I'm rolling the wrong way. How's my fuel? You know what? I've just got to shift over here where my steering wheel is. Hang on. I could do with the top up of fuel. Why not? That's a prudent thing to do. So yeah, if you're watching this, just let me know. Is my voice super loud or is it sounding normal? Because I've done a few modifications to the computer, and microphone wasn't working well on Discord, which is a bit annoying because that's the primary thing used to communicate these days. Right, so engine off, refuel, and let's see. Right, engine on, and you know what? It looks like the guy I am is... it could do with a bit of a nap, and it's 9 o'clock, so why not? We'll do a nap, and then we can have an early morning drive, and that'll be nice. Driving the Pork Chop Express. I recently rewatched Euro Truck Simulator. Yeah, Euro Truck... no, I recently... oh yeah, you know that film by John Carpenter, Euro Truck... Big Trouble in Euro Truck Simulator? Yeah, it was a good film, that is. I mean, you got Jack Burton, and he's a lorry driver, and his lorry gets nicked by this Chinese magician who's immortal, and he's got to get this curse lifted by marrying a wife with green eyes and red hair, which is very rare for a Chinese lady. And then he gets 2 wives matching the description. It's brilliant. Good film, by the way. Very good film. And there's one of the demons in it which I had a nightmare about, but I never seen the film up until recently. So, and the demon in this looked kind of cute. It didn't really look like a big scary monster. It's just one that had stalks everywhere with eyes on the ends of the stalks, and yeah. But anyway, so right, I think I've got to take a right here, and let's go right. And yeah, everything seems to be working fine. My FPS is good. New microprocessor, so it is a Matisse core. And then I noticed that AMD have started naming all of their processors after artists. So one of the upcoming Zen 3 architecture will be called a Warhol. Yeah, Didn't like. I really hope like they do an equivalent of the AMD FX55, which is a chip I had and loved. I really loved that chip, and then I sold it. Actually, I didn't even sell it. I just gave it away. What a nice guy I am. That was a great chip. That was, of all the single-core processors, that was the fastest single-core processor ever made. Now, modern processors, they can be faster than the FX55. But anyway, doesn't matter. You know, I was having a chat with someone the other day, Phil, and the subject got talking about how capitalists bring in foreign workers to reduce wages, which I agree with. That's true. That is a true statement. They bring them in to devalue your labour. And he was saying that the Windrush was instrumental in that, and I said, well, no, not really. And he says, what do you mean, you mad bastard? Of course it is. And I was like, yeah, but they're not really workers. I mean, I know that's the propaganda that was used about the Windrush. And also, it's very interesting if you look at the history of the Windrush to see like who owned the boat and who was insisting that the occupants be allowed in. Because apparently, it came as a big surprise when they started offloading the ships, because it's like, well, what are we supposed to do with these people? I mean, they're going to go to a hotel or what? Are they tourists? And it's like, no, they're here to stay. Oh, alright. So what I'm saying there is the government in the 1960s and 70s conducted an experiment to see how black workers got on, and they found that actually they were a liability, not an asset. Especially as you can't, and I think even back then you couldn't like give people less money for the same work. So, but it just they didn't do the work, and I don't know if you ever worked with blacks before, but they're not what I would describe as hard-working. And I fact, you might describe them as hard-working, but objectively you're wrong. And if you've never worked with blacks, I suggest you watch the documentary Empire of Rust. I'm sure it's available on YouTube, and it shows the Chinese and their efforts to mine resources from Africa. They have to work with Africans, and they talk about the constant problems they have. The African lorry drivers are careless and often results in damage to property. They drive too fast, just like I'm doing now, and they often come up late. Supplies always get stolen, and it's where you get the famous meme from. It's also tiresome, because you could just see the look of pain on this Chinaman's face, because he's like, yeah, I can't really work with these people, but if I don't hire them, they'll just they'll cause even more trouble. So now the thing is, me saying that, I'm still not disagreeing that bringing in immigrants to lower wages is not a thing, and it certainly is a thing. And now with this Hong Kong agreement, that's going to become even more of a thing. So I hope the middle class enjoy having all of their wages undercut by Hong Kongers who do work hard. In fact, a lot harder than them. You know, for them, an 18-hour workday full of fun and merrymaking is their idea of a good time. It's not really our idea of a good time. And the thought sort of occurred to me in the bathroom. I just think to myself, well, where have like Anglos really had like a good understanding of blacks? That they had in the United States. There was a lot of Anglos like, well, you know, these funny merchants, they keep bringing over these slaves, and I guess we better put them up somewhere and you know, use them whilst we got them. Evil capitalists just exploiting slavery. Yeah, because that doesn't happen anymore. And even back then, it wasn't a mean thing, but it was just understood that legally, the blacks count as 3/5 of a human. And what does 3/5 of a human mean? Their testimony was worth 3/5 of that, but then what? So you needed 2 of them, but then you've got like 6 out of 5. So what? If you get like hang on, 30 over 5, 3/5. What's this ratio supposed to... I understood from that ratio as they're saying, look, we're not being mean, it's just you're not got like the full capabilities of an Englishman, so we're just going to hold you on grounds of diminished responsibility. If ever you do something, if in case you do something wrong, in case you do something that is a criminal offence, you'll be treated as 3/5 of a man. I don't think the punishments were 3/5 of what the man would get, but yeah, that's an interesting point, because the thing is, and I've heard this propaganda before, where the Windrush generation was needed, you see, because so many Englishmen were lost during the war, which is a half-truth, because yes, there was a need for workers to come in, and that's why not just the blacks, but many Indians were imported. Just like, alright, who have we got in the Commonwealth that we can bring over to England to do these jobs for cheap? And they found the Indians and Pakistanis are better workers than the blacks, marginally. But then you have to... The half-truth is that, yes, you did have less workers during the war, but the men which survived and came back, there was no homes for them, because, funny enough, the Germans had done quite a bit of damage to the nation. A lot of homes have been destroyed, so unfortunately there was no homes for those men to come to, which is why Australia and New Zealand, who needed, because they also lost a lot of men during the war, it's like, well, we need men to come here and build civilization. So that's why the New Zealand and the United Kingdom and the Australian governments had a £10 POM scheme. And what was the point of the £10 POM scheme? It was, they were subsidising travel. So if you wanted to start a new life over there because your home had been bombed, it's like, well, come start a new life down under. It's nice, the weather's nice, you know, there's no London slums here. It's nice, clean air. You can make yourself a living. You've got room to swing a cat. Do you want to be a farmer? I mean, you can have as much land as you want. We'll give you sheep, we'll give you everything. And it was, you know, so it made a lot of sense. And a lot of men, after the war, I mean, yes, there was people who wanted to live and stay in England because, you know, I've lived in England all my life, and that's why I fought in the war, so I could have an England to come back to, and I don't want to go to Australia. I want to live here, and that's where they built prefab houses, which some still exist to this day, and they're quite nice for... finally, right. You can't see it on your thing, but I've just had a Steam notification pop up saying many roads lead to Rome. There's 4 roads that lead in there, and this is the 4th one, which I've not used. So yeah, a lot of the Englishmen, they left to Australia and New Zealand because there wasn't any houses for them. So I'm thinking to myself, because this £10 POM scheme continued up into the 1980s, and I'm pretty sure by 1980 you would have rebuilt all the houses. I'm pretty sure people would be like, okay, it's 1945 and I've now waited 35 years for a house. 35 years? That 1945 to 1980? Yeah, 35 years for a house. Alright, I finally got one. Yeah, I'm sure by that time, everyone that needed a house would have had one. Well, more or less. Ooh, actually, you know what? I shouldn't have done that, but never mind. So, it needs to be... I think people need to be disabused of this notion that England was critically short of workers. Yes, it was, but if they were so critically short of workers, why were they sending some of their best and brightest over to Australia and New Zealand? I mean, surely they could have done incentives like, well look, here's a £10 ticket which we, the governments of Australia, New Zealand and the United Kingdom have subsidised, so you can start a new life there. Or alternatively, here's some tax incentives, here's a housing subsidy, here's like building materials, here's like incentives to keep you here because we need you here. And I think, as Phil correctly identified, so credit's due, that social experiment, the subsidies were not available because they didn't want skilled workers, they wanted cheap workers, and they thought it would have worked, and it didn't. And I mean, these days, mind you, this is going to be an interesting thing. With the European Union over, you can't have cheap Slavs coming over anymore. just literal slaves coming over, living 26 to a house, growing cannabis or working supermarkets, what have you. No, can't have them anymore, so you got to do something else. Oops, let's get in there. I've got to actually press the enter button and pay money. So let's inch forward a bit more. So yeah, the social experiment, the blacks didn't really work that well. That's why they didn't carry on importing more and more of them from Jamaica and Sierra Leone and what have you. I mean, they do, mind you. They still keep doing it, like with the NHS. The NHS is quite happy to import nurses and doctors from Nigeria, which I say is a bad thing, because you're telling me the Nigerians don't need doctors and nurses? I think, like, if Nigeria is to improve its lot in life, it needs to keep its skilled workers, and if you've got a Nigerian who's bright enough to become a doctor, they should stay in Nigeria for the benefit of Nigeria. And us, the NHS, is perpetrating poverty and poor health outcomes in African countries. It continues to poach like the workers in those sectors. So I disagree with this racist policy of hiring black nurses and doctors from these countries. They need them. There should be incentives to keep them there. They should literally just be out of the kindness of heart saying, like, no, you can't. You have to stay in your country. You have to do it. Because look, I mean, your country needs you. It needs your help. It says no entry in that one. So let's go and do something I definitely shouldn't do, which is go the wrong way down the wrong way road. Yep. But I mean, I'm never going to explore this part otherwise. And oh look, that's the motorway. You definitely should not be doing this. This is strictly verboten what I'm doing. Hey, look, I'll even the wrong way offence. But yeah, that's all been superseded now. Blacks out, Pakistanians in, and next they'll have the Hong Kongers to come in and... oh, still getting wrong way offences. But what if I was to go that way? There's no sign saying no left turn. So let's just go along this road. There we are. I'm along this road now. And I think that's it. I've concluded this talk, this sort of demonstration. I assume people in the chat, because no one's saying, Hobbit, your mic is really, really loud, that means that everything's working hunky-dory and it's all okay. And so let me see. If I go... Can I do a turn in the road? If not, I'll just close the game. Let's see if I can do a turn in the road here. Yeah, this looks like a likely spot, because I will want to get some food soon. Haven't eaten yet today. And, oh yeah. I've got a steak, got that. Hopefully I've got some potatoes, so I can boil them. If I've got some onions, I might fry up those onions gently and then scoop them off the pan and get it hot and then properly sear. Oh, no. Well, let's just get past him then. Yeah, so potatoes, onions. Oh, what if I was to, like, fry some beans? No. Don't think you can fry beans. No, they don't cook all the way through. So I was to boil some beans, fry some onions, and then what? Do I make like a gravy with the bean juice? Gotta have some sort of greens. I like green things. I might have peas actually. Oh well, in that case, yeah. I mean, if I got peas, yeah, I could fry up the onions, put some peas in the saucepan, fried onions in the saucepan, put some gravy in there, and then just splash of water and lightly heat up the peas. I mean, you don't really need to cook peas that much. I don't know about you, but I'm actually quite happy eating frozen peas. I know that might sound strange or unpleasant, but I don't find them unpleasant. And I think that the freezing actually does most of it. But yeah, if you're watching this now, I mostly wanted to just talk about the issues of logistics and scab labour, and how blacks don't make effective scab labour because they're not effective scabs. And there are issues with importing workers. I think the NHS needs to stop its racist policy of hiring all the talent from Africa, because in the Philippines and Jamaica, and if you do that, I mean, what the Africans, what they did, all you're going to do there is you're going to keep perpetuating the poverty and misery and poor health outcomes in those countries. The Africans need African doctors more than we need them. I mean, we've had plenty of doctors in our country before. I'm sure it wouldn't take too long to train up some new doctors. So yeah. Right. I've done all I want to do now, so I'm just going to stop it right there. Break on. Thanks for watching. You may now go away, and I'm going to listen back to this video and